Welcome back to the Press Club. Thank you for staying tuned to this program. And we were discussing VAT just before the break, and I didn't want us to lose that point, Rez, on VAT, because I think VAT is something that will, VAT is something that will affect every St. Lucian. And the question is about those people who are indigent and those who really cannot afford to even live right now to have another tax imposed. What we have understood is not another tax, it's just a reallocation of that tax, because consumption tax, as you alluded to earlier on, will be gone and we'll be paying just VAT. The environmental levy will be gone. That's $6,000 you pay when you bring in a vehicle which is older than 5 years. That is going. To me, that made absolutely no sense. So, I mean, it's a good tax to get rid of. And some other taxes as well. But you're making the point about, you know, is it relevant to the hotels, to the insurance agencies? Yeah. Is it relevant to other businesses and sectors on the island?
Yeah. Well, all of that will be made clear in the future. And again, I come back to the information that needs to come out. Mm-hmm. More information, there will be less fares. People will worry less because the questions will be cleared. And to me, that is the important thing. What VAT will do, as we've seen in Barbados and Guyana, is bring a substantial amount of money which can be spent on the development of a country in the many ways that the government choose to use that money to develop education, to develop agriculture, to develop sport, etc. So there's a plus about VAT. VAT does bring a lot of money into the treasury of a government.
The question is how that money is used, because with more money, you know, I guess it's with every other person. You get more money, you want to spend more. So it will be very interesting how that new money, quote unquote, would be allocated as it comes in.
Well, that is for sometime later.
Later. The proof will be in the pudding on that one. But I just hope that with this new money coming in through VAT, that it is managed effectively. We already know from the budget that we're looking at a $40 million deficit. And whereas we can look at that as nothing, in our small economy, it is a significant amount, $40 million. That means we have more strain to pay our civil servants, you know, to get the basic infrastructure rehabilitated and maintained, you know, coming off of Tomas, where we have so many things that still need to be done, you know.
But let me bowl a short bunker. What was the response to the shortfall by the government? I missed the response. I mean,
well, I think what the government was saying pretty much that this is expected given the state of the economy, and that is not only in St. Lucia but around the world. And they made the point too, which I usually don't like to follow those points, where they say, okay, well, when you were there, we had a shortfall as well. I don't think that is good reasoning, you know. But their claim was during the UWPA administration, when there was alleged growth in the economy, there was still a $42 or $44 million shortfall. So given that times have worsened, and having that shortfall that is similar, should not be a big contention for the opposition party. But I don't like deficits, and I wish we can reach a point where we can cut out the deficit, you know, cut on the fat, and make the government as lean as possible. I sound Republican, but yeah, I believe that there should be money spent on social programs, on education, on healthcare, but then, you know, a lot of the waste can be cut out.
But if the economy improves, let us say there's greater arrival in tourists, there's more money coming from agriculture, etc., etc. Wouldn't that eventually iron out some of the shortfall?
Well, hopefully it will. Hopefully, I would expect that it would. But then with the projections that we have, and given the fact that over the last few years we have not seen a significant increase in economic activity, and we do not anticipate that this would be the case this year, we can be relatively sure that we will have to bear that shortfall somehow, and we'll have to try to work with it. Hopefully the IMF does not come knocking on our door in a way that it did in other countries like Dominica, where we have to just give up everything to the IMF. I am really not in favor of these giants coming in and dictating how we do business, because we're a small country, and for so many impositions to be made on a small country like ours, I don't think it is necessarily helpful to us and would give us the room to be productive and put our economy back on track as it should be. So
your reference there to someone like a Republican maybe bothers me a bit, because I would think that a young thinker like you will probably understand that the millionaires in the U.S. should be paying a little more tax.
no, I totally agree. No, when I talked about, you know, the reference to the Republicans is in terms of government, you know, making government more lean, cutting down on government spending. You know, Democrats usually, they're interested in the social program, so you have a lot more spending on those areas, which I agree with.
Yeah,
But then when I talked about, you know, government here being more lean, I'm not talking about cutting back on the social programs. If anything, we should be increasing on the social programs. Those things that bring, like, and we'll talk about the Jazz Festival in a little while. The Tourist Board spends millions of dollars every year putting together a jazz festival, which is not jazz. But then we have realized increasingly diminishing margins of return. Why have we not addressed that situation? Why have we not tweaked the festival to ensure, and it does not fulfill the original purpose. That was to bring in guests during the traditionally low period for our tourist season. That has not been happening in recent times, but still we keep on pumping more and more money into the jazz festival. That does not make sense. We can use that money, I will continue to argue, for social programs.
Who is making money from the jazz festival?
That's a good question, because definitely we are not the ones making the money.
No, I mean,
BET used to make.
I would think that our hotels are making money from the jazz festival. Our restaurants are making money from the jazz festival. I don't think the tourist board makes money from the jazz festival per se, but I think you have to balance it out.
No, but my argument is that the hotels on the island, the restaurants, they're not making as much because we are not attracting the numbers that we used to, and we intended to attract through the festival. That is the point I'm making. So if we're not achieving that purpose, and we don't expect the tourist board to be making money, because that's not what the tourist board is there to do. They get our taxpayers' money in the first place, so they don't need to be, you know, generating money, but they need to be creating avenues for our various sectors to be generating money.
But your figures indicate that the numbers coming in, which is really the important numbers. Yes, St. Lucian supported Jazz Festival,
right?
But the numbers coming in, your information is that those numbers are not getting better. In fact, they're dropping.
They're decreasing. That's yeah, and that would be understandable because of the economic recession. You know, people are not traveling as much, and I dare say, I need to double check my facts, so don't hold me to that, that it was falling even before the world economic crisis. You know, so with the economic crisis, people are holding on to their pennies a lot more. So whereas they could have had that discretionary income and say, oh, you know what, this year let me go to St. Lucia for jazz. They're saying, oh, you know what, I mean, I have that amount of money. Let me save that so that if, you know, things get bad, if I lose my job, then I can at least have a little bit of savings there to survive.
But Clinton is not affecting just about every festival in the Caribbean.
It is. It is, but we still. What my point is, we're spending more money on it. We're putting out more money to attract, and we're just not attracting.
Is there a review coming up on the jazz festival? I mean, I saw something on television, people questioning whether it's a jazz festival or whether it's a musical festival.
Yeah.
Is there some review in the future?
The Minister for Creative Industries and Tourism, Lon Theophilus, he had indicated that he'll be undertaking a review of that festival, and I think that is a very good thing, because the jazz festival, as the name suggests, would mean that you have jazz artists coming. We hardly have any. It's more like a pop, you know, R&B festival.
I'm not an expert on it, but I will say that as far as I remember, during the late Desmond Skeet period, there was much more of a jazz, strong jazz input. But that is as far as I would go, because there must be good reasons why you get the R&B artists and things like that. You have to find the right mix. But I think there's a good reason for asking the question.
No, because R&B artists, they attract large audiences.
Exactly.
You know, the jazz artists, they have specialized niches, you know, that follow them. So
maybe a small niche market.
Exactly, and they do not attract, you know, the kind of revenue that the R&Bs, you know. But if you say Elton John, if you say Rihanna, if you say Beyonce, you have floods of people, young and old, coming. Oh, you know. But then, give me a jazz name, Mark Whitfield or one of these guys. You know, hardly anybody would know them. So,
but you know, when you go down into Castries and you see jazz in the square, you feel, hold on, here's a reach out. You know, here is people getting an opportunity to enjoy an artiste, more than one, of course.
Right.
That in the past it never really happened. So there are some positive things.
Yes,
but
there are.
The bottom line, I suppose, is very important.
Yeah, the bottom line is the important thing, and it's a way to make money for the island, and that has not been happening. So we anticipate the review, and as well we anticipate your reviews on the Press Club. Please send us your feedback on pressclub@dbstelevision.com. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll discuss the developments for the past week. Stay with us.